So with our lovely Mr. R, my son is out trying to help us for a little bit. So you can see with Rocky, he's got some sort of fear responses, so nothing terrible. It's okay, Oren, he'll find them in a second, okay? So with Mr. R, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, not everybody has small humans to practice with. So a lot of times when your babe comes across something novel, they might interpret it as potentially scary or threatening or a little overwhelming. So what we're doing with Mr. R is you can see his little tail is at times tucked. He's sometimes then sort of scuttling back and forth. So if at times your puppy is getting a little nervous, there you go, nice job with some find it, Soren. Your best bet is just let them process the situation to their extent. Oren, my lovey, you can just leave him on the floor and he'll come find them, so don't worry. So a lot of times, littles and even adults want to be a dog's best friend instantly, and I completely understand wanting to show your puppy or your new friend's dog how friendly you are and how benign you are. But for a lot of dogs, being really intimate is something that can be actually overwhelming. And what I mean by that is the way we share affection is normally by touching, caressing, praising, and getting intimate with physical contact. For a lot of puppies, if they don't know the person or if that touch is flustering, remember that the way we share affection is not the way another dog would share affection. So a lot of times, and Oren, you can just hang here for a second, is a lot of times we tend to want to show the puppy how safe we are by intruding on their space. So your puppy's comfort bubble tends to be like 10 to 12 feet away from something, and the further they are, the less overwhelmed they might feel. The more intimate or closer or smaller the bubble, the more trapped or flustered the puppy or adult dog could feel. The only reason, again, we're doing this off leash versus on a lead is that he's not like a bite risk, or he's not necessarily that flustered that he's going to keep escalating. So for right now, Rocky is a little bit unsure as to what Oren is up to. Hey, Oren, can you just hang out in one bubble and just no bending over, because it's sort of when you change positions, it's like you're a shapeshifter. So for a lot of puppies, we as people, our mannerisms can sometimes also be misinterpreted. So for example, us going directly at someone or something and then making direct eye contact to that person is proper hellos for people. But for dogs, it's actually really counterproductive in the sense that for a lot of them, they misinterpret it and they view it as threatening. So complete eye contact with heading straight at the other dog would be actually confrontational, and maybe I'm coming to get you. So if the body language from both sides was really soft and noodle-esque, as I call it, with very wiggly bodies, then it could be the dynamic of them coming to visit and do some play, but they might already have an existing relationship. So you can see how Rocky's a little bit unsure. So this is where how we, oh my goodness, chew them, how we deal with a puppy when they're feeling flustered will either help build confidence and comfort, or it could add more fuel to the fires of fear or instability or discomfort from something. So for example, Orange is kind of hanging out in his own little bubble. He's not going towards the puppy. So if your puppy was ever nervous, again, the reason I love Find It so much is that then the new thing could just become a benign food dispensary. So because a lot of times being sort of intimate can be really trying for the puppy or the dog. So right now, even though he was doing a great job with me, he's probably much more comfortable because he's been around mostly adults, I'm assuming. This doesn't mean that your puppy can't get comfortable with your particular humans. Like one of our guys, Bill, he loves my kids, but new stranger children are awful. So it doesn't mean he goes and eats them up, but he'd rather not go visit or say hello, which is perfectly okay. So remember that, and is he taking those snackies a little bit? Nice. We'll toss some higher value. So too, Oren, when he sometimes watches you, stand a little to the side, so sideways to him versus facing. So Oren's doing a great job pretending he's just, again, like a tree that's dispensing snacks. So this doesn't mean that they can't create a little relationship. They were actually playing earlier with the flirt pole, and they were doing a really nice job. But a lot of times, as your puppies start to notice novelty, that's where sometimes you get fear responses. So fear responses tend to happen several times throughout your puppy's lives. So one of them is between 8 weeks to 10 weeks is their first fear period. The remaining of the fear periods tend to happen around the 1 year mark, give or take. And then sometimes throughout their lives, they can sometimes be startled by things you thought they already felt really comfortable with. And now all of a sudden it's overwhelming for them. So if our puppies are ever showing signs that they're really flustered, I like to do really easy peasy skills like find it, but I'm going to see if maybe Mr. Handsome would even like, and you can just hang there for 1 second, Oren, and if he's doing a good job playing, then we'll see how he feels. So sometimes the benefit of sometimes including some play is I'm not going to try to lure him even closer to my little one. So Oren, you hang out there, and then, so what I'm going to try to do with Rocky is get him to potentially play with the toy and see if he wants to engage with it. He could be already a little tired. He did a lot of wrestling and playing with the other ladies earlier for playtime. And he did get to wrestle for a few moments with Zeus while Zeus was on his leash because he's a bigger boy. There you go. Nice job with those find its though, Oren. So, but you can see that his comfort range is not quite there yet, and that's okay. So remember that if you do have moments where you have company over or you have friends visiting or even family, whatever it might be, is make sure that we're not rushing. Because if we go right into like, oh, I want to pat your new puppy, that could be too scary for the pup. Ready? So we'll see if we can get a little sit. And he's like, no, I don't know. And I'm not sure. He could also be a little flustered. It could be some trigger stacking, like I mentioned with some of the other pups in other videos. I have the AC rocking, which makes a lot of noise. There's my son versus my daughter here today. There's also the fact that like his treat pouch makes a little clinky noise. So maybe the magnet could be a little bit spooky. But no worries if sometimes you have moments where your puppies are a little bit overwhelmed. This doesn't mean that we want to flood him. So flooding would be like, okay, he's nervous about my son. We're going to have him see if we can get him to take food directly from his hand. And then we'd actually be creating conflict because then the closer the puppy gets, he feels this inner struggle where he'd like the food, but he's really stressed. And we want him to think that he can still get snacks, but he doesn't have to come close or be intimate with the setup. So the benefit of the find it is that your puppy can then still go and grab a snack, but it's for disengaging from the thing, which is helpful. Sometimes, and you can just leave it there, it's fine. If, for example, your puppy is really having a hard time, we don't want to force it to get him over something. So some people are like, oh, your puppy's scared of kids, bring them to the playground and then have him around all these kids and have the kids come visit him and show him they're safe. That's pretty much forcing someone to do something they're really scared of. And then when they said no thanks, you do it anyway. So remember when we get rid of choice or the option to opt out, we're also telling our puppies that when you're saying, gee, I'm really nervous or flustered or way too excited about something, Kivas, is my turn to come out again. Then the problem there is then we're teaching our puppies that no matter what they say at a whisper, that they might have to start shouting. And we don't want our dogs to think that the only way to tell us how they're feeling is by getting louder and louder, not in the sense of creating bigger responses or bigger behavior. Ready? Find it. So, but we'll give Mr. R a little breather. I know Oren is trying his darndest. And again, don't worry if sometimes they're not instantly comfortable with something. You're looking for them, oh, sorry, I bumped the mic, looking for change and feeling comfortable as they're progressing slowly at their rate for comfort range. So, and if he's never seen a small human, it can be a little jarring if he hasn't been around kids before. So I know for a lot of the puppies, seeing small humans can be challenging. So, but just make sure that you're going at their rate for their comfort and for their success. So we'll give Mr. R a little breather and we'll work a few other little skills. But you did a really great job with this little engagement for now. And nice job, Oren. Thanks for helping feed the handsome man a few snackies.